And I said, even the national government is relying on the IMF and the World Bank to borrow loans. And the object and memorandum of this bill, Mr. Speaker, is very clear. And I hope that my good friend, the Commissioner, can be able to read it. It says, the principal object of the bill is to amend the Water Act 2016 for the purpose of operationalizing public-private partnership in the water sector. And thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to make some comments, which I hope will lead me towards drafting some amendments to this bill, which in my view has been crafted to be able to commercialize a commodity that is given to us by God for free. Mr. Speaker, I sit in the Public Investment Committee where we interrogate waterworks, we interrogate water service providers. So I'll be speaking with experience when I comment on this bill. If you read the objects and memorandum of this bill.
Sorry, Senator Kina. Senator Manzo, Senator Kajwang, you are kindly consulting law tones, so interrupting those contributing to this important bill. Honorable Kina.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for your protection. Mr. Speaker, as I was saying, I sit in the Public Investment Committee where I get an opportunity to interrogate water service providers, waterworks bodies, in line with the Water Act 2016. Mr. Speaker, when you read these amendments, which are brought about by the Majority Leader of the National Assembly, there's a lot that leads to be desired. Mr. Speaker, why am I saying that? If you read the object and memorandum of this amendment, it is purely to operationalize the public-private partnership of the water bodies or the water resource. When you read the Constitution, water is devolved. There is nowhere in the Constitution that says that water should be a matter that is dealt centrally. And the framers of the Constitution, Mr. Speaker, were very right, because only local people will be able to understand the specific needs of water of their own people. If you now take the powers from the county governments and you bring them to Nairobi, number one, there will be a lot of bureaucracy. People will not be able to make decisions in terms of the needs of the water. Number two, Mr. Speaker, I've heard my good friend, the Chair of Energy, saying that county governments will not have budgets to be able to deal with these issues. Mr. Speaker, when you talk about the issue of bulk water management, if there is water in Murang'a County and the people of Nairobi are benefiting from that water of Murang'a County, because we are the house that defends devolution and the framers of the Constitution, unless my good chair wants to amend the Constitution, the framers of the Constitution devolved water. The best thing we can do is to empower the county government of Murang'a to ensure that they sell that water to the people of Nairobi. It is not quantum physics. It is very simple. You have bulk water. If you have dilapidated infrastructure, I will fix my infrastructure up to the borderline. You want to collect my water, Mr. Speaker? Collect it from the borderline, go and distribute it to your people. This business of creating these authorities, which are really bankrupting this nation, if you go to all state departments, Mr. Speaker, right now, it is not that the national budget gives them so much money. Most of them are given loans by the World Bank, they are given loans by the IMF, they are given loans by other development agencies for them to be able to go and sit somewhere in Naivasha and make decisions about people in Narok or how much water they should get. Mr. Speaker, we are missing the point here. This is not only unconstitutional, but it is creating bureaucracies on managing everything, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this Kenya Kwanza government really shocks me. You know, every time I sit down here and I read, you know, you look at, even if this bill was due, or this act was due to, for it to be amended.
Kina, there is a point of order from Senator Derito John Kenya. What is your point of order, Senator Kenya?
Mr. Speaker, I have listened to Senator Olekina, who I respect so much. I don't know why he's casting...
Which is standing order that you are using to
Mr. Speaker, Senator Wamatinga, when he finished his statement, he said, with amendment. So I don't know, he's not agree.
What is your point? Which standing order now are you using to prosecute?
Standing order number 110, Mr. Speaker, that if what Matangi said, he's just agreeing with him because he's assuming that Senator Matangi made a mistake. Well, Senator Matangi is very clear with with all respect. Matinga. No. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's Senator Matinga. Senator, it's true, Mr. Speaker. But Senator Wamatinga was very clear when he said he's supporting with amendment concerning the issue of water is devolved. He's very clear about devolution with water, Mr. Speaker. I just want clarification so that he doesn't want to assume, he doesn't want to say that Senator Wamatinga does not respect water is devolved, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Olekina, proceed, and if you have to clarify, I don't know, I did not...
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my point is very clear, and I just want to be very, very clear. You know, we are debating, so it's for me to either agree or reject. And in my debate, I just pointed out clearly that what my good friend, the chair of energy, has said does not hold any water, because he said county governments do not have budgets to be able to control their resources. And I said, even the national government is relying on the IMF and the World Bank to borrow loans. And the object and memorandum of this bill, Mr. Speaker, is very clear. And I hope that my good friend, the Commissioner, can be able to read it. It says, the principal object of the bill is to amend the Water Act 2016 for the purpose of operationalizing public-private partnership in the water sector. And I said, which I continue, that I have a serious problem with the policies of this Kenya Kwanza government, because everything has become commercial. Mr. Speaker, the power that now are being given to the Cabinet Secretary here, and the Cabinet Secretary does not really care about county government of Meru.
There is another point of order from Senator Wamatinga Wahome.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I just wanted to inform my colleague that I did not say that the county government do not have the budget. I said with the kind of allocation that the county governments get, that is point of information, with the kind of allocation that the county governments get.
Has he accepted that?
Yes, he has accepted. Yes, he's accepted.
Mr. Speaker, you know, my chair, him and I just came out from another committee where we were concerned about the Cabinet Secretary's decision and the powers that they have. But that's for another day. Let me try and summarize my points as follows. Mr. Speaker, I firmly believe that it's about time, with the help of the Secretariat, that we set up a committee that scrutinizes bills that are seconded to this House from the National Assembly. And I say that because of the experience of the bills that we send from this House to the National Assembly. Most of the bills that we send from this House to the National Assembly, some of them either do not get concurrence, and those that get concurrence are not prioritized. In fact, most of the time, they are sent to the budget office for them to look at it. They look at the implication. So I think in the same spirit, we should also be looking at the constitutionality of legislation proposals that are brought from the National Assembly. We should not be quick to debate them and to pass them. Because the first thing we should have seen is that the Constitution, under Section 4, Roman numeral number 11, that county governments, the county public works and services, including water and sanitation services, are devolved. So unless you're telling us that you're going to amend this Constitution, or you're going to throw this Constitution out of the way, there's absolutely no way that these amendments will be able to hold. If we are pushed to pass these amendments, someone will go to court. And someone will ask the same question that I'm asking here today. Why can't we not empower Murang'a County, which is providing water to Nairobi County, to be able to sell that water and make money for the people of Murang'a? Why should we create another body that has the powers to borrow money so that it continue dipping us deeper into the hole of debt? Mr. Speaker, the advantage of leaving water services, the county governments, are very clear. It allows for proper public participation. It allows for the people on these counties to be able to get water because they know they are the only ones who understand their needs of water. Now, if you tell me that decisions will be made in Nairobi, with all this bureaucracy, by the time water is distributed in Narok, you know, a child would have already finished primary school and gone to high school. So, Mr. Speaker, I think this bill is ill-advised. I think we need to start thinking about the future of this nation. One thing which I want us to remember is that governments come and go. Politicians come and go. But this country called Kenya must remain and will always remain. So this year, since we have agreed to be able to debate issues, pass legislation that will be able to support this nation, we must come up with amendments to the law that will be future-centric. It will not be laws that will be able to enrich a few individuals. Because the moment you say, that you are now going to empower, because it says that amendment to clause 6 of the bill on Section 69 Act provides clarity roles between waterworks development agencies and water service provider. What clarity are you seeking there? Water service providers are based in counties. These water agencies that you're giving them so much power, really, what do they do? It's just busybodies. People just sitting down somewhere and making decisions about water in Mandera, and they are not even in Mandera, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to beseech my colleagues that one, either we stop the debate on this bill, we look at the constitutionality of this bill, because it is affecting our counties. And we're here to protect and defend counties. We need to start thinking about how to promote innovations and flexibility. If we take away a resource from the counties and we now bring it to the central government or the national government to make decisions, how then are we going to become innovative? How are we going to promote, flexibility in terms of managing water resources, which are based locally? You'll find that it's very difficult. Someone will get water, but instead of sharing that water with the local community, they will just, because they're afraid of these waterworks, they will just use that water for themselves. They'll never say it. Yet these waterworks do not have the powers. So this issue of private-public partnership must stop. It is not always the right thing. If you tell me that you're building me a superhighway from Nairobi to Kakamega, and you are inviting private-public partnership on a BOT, build, operate, transfer, I'll support it. But if you're now telling me that you want to commercialize water, that you are bringing in a private party to come in and invest in that water, and then distribute that water, use that water, which is a resource that the county is supposed to be benefiting, I will say no to it. Because you will say you'll actually just throw away innovation. Let's allow, we keep on talking about not having jobs in this country. So instead of these 47 heads of counties sitting down together and saying, how do we manage this resource? We in Parliament are now promoting, clawing back on devolution. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to end by saying local communities have a better understanding of their specific water needs, and by leaving these water services as intended by the framers of the Constitution in the county governments, will help them tailor the management of this water resource to fit their needs. So, Mr. Speaker, I oppose this bill entirely. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Next is Senator Munyi Haji Mohamed.
Asante Bwana Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii kuchangia
Namba yangu ni 0794 93 1650 ni 0794 93 1650.